Body on the frame, take 3. I'm trying to say anything stupid this time. Try. So, welcome to another episode of South Omaha Speed. I got the rear end slid under the car. Last time we talked, I had pushed the back of the frame rail up. We swept it up 9 inches, got it in the trunk. It's looking pretty cool. That's what the rear end looks like in it right now at ride height. Pretty much, probably car be a little lower than that. At the end of the day, I probably might run just a little bit bigger tire when I get the 16-inch rim on there. Probably be a little bigger. So I'm pretty excited about the way that's looking. Come around to the front, got that front frame section brought up 4 inches at the cross member. So my thought is now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to cut it up in here, make a little notch for that frame to come up into the frame. The spring's going to come up into the frame about another 1.5 inches. I think the car is going to sit about 1.5 inches lower than it is right now. So it'll simulate ride height. When we get to the world of wheels, we can walk around the car and take a look and make sure everything's looking good, the ride heights and everything's good, and we're comfortable with it. And then the tie rod here is designed to come up in this pocket inside the cross member, so I got to kind of cut this out too. I probably won't do that for Thursday for the World of Wheels show when we go down, but because we won't be bouncing up and down the suspension, it won't need the clearance, but eventually this will get cut up in here. If I take it down to the World of Wheels and I kind of want to move the wheels out a couple inches for the wheelbase to stretch out that wheelbase even longer, it looked pretty good last time I had the hood on it with kind of this configuration, and I can only go so far because of the shell, the back of the shell with the spring will hit. So I think I was pretty good here, but until I don't want to cut that notch in the crossmember, because once I cut that notch in the crossmember, then I'm kind of stuck to that location, and then I'll have to leave the spring where it's at because the tie rod and the spring are a certain distance apart, so I'll have to make sure they move together. So I won't cut that notch yet. But anyway, let me do some cutting here. I'll get back at you and we'll take a look. Okay, so I got the frame notched. The spring sitting up in there, looking pretty cool, I think. Probably lowered the car more than just 1.5 inches, but that's okay. See where we're at. Good baseline to start. So at the end of the day, when I design all my plates for the suicide plate that comes out here at the neck, I'll be able to take dimensions off this and this and everything. Everything will be right here at ride height, so I'll be able to make all these dimensions and draw those plates out to get them cut. So that'll be cool. And I still got 1 inch or so down here for the tie rod. So I'm probably a little lower, maybe 1/2 inch lower than I want to be, but we'll be fine for the auto show and give me a chance to walk around and take a look at it and see how it looks. I think I'm going to throw the hood on it now just to get an idea of how low this front end is going to be as far as the belt line, the body line, the belt line, the bottom of the hood, where it hinges to the relationship with the tire. So I think I'm going to be a little lower than the car was probably ran in the 50s. In the 60s, it always seems like it kind of set up a little bit in the front. But I think it's going to be cool. We'll just get a chance to look at the show and see what we got. But in my mind, I think this is where it needs to be. But we'll see down and get a chance to walk around it and absorb it and really take a look. So let me throw a hood on this thing and see what we got. My buddy Steve was over. He's like, hey, this thing had bolts in it at one time. Let's throw some bolts in that thing. That's a good idea, Steve. Thank you. got the look. So looking across that tire to that bead line, it's probably exactly where I want to be, I think. I'm really liking that look. So at the end of the day, I need this thing to sit this way with the motor in it, or something very close. I think the body's still, of course, mocked up on wood there, and I'll spend a little more time fiddling with this and kind of wiring it together, bolting it up, making sure that that hood line is good. I need these hydraulic shocks to fit in those notches on the hood too. That's one of the reasons why I had to bring that frame up 4 inches. The whole thing was to get these to fit up in here, up under the hood notches here. They torched that out back in the day and ran these hydraulic arms, as it was the Omaha Coupe, or just the 33 from the Jack's Car Club then. Probably wasn't called the Omaha Coupe, but when they went to the Orange Crate, they actually added tube shocks in the front at some point. I mean, you could probably see them on earlier videos, but the mounts are still there. But we're gonna run the hydraulic arms because of the notches in the hood. So it's sitting on there pretty much at ride height. I'm pretty excited about it. It's close. It's you know, I got to do a little more fiddle-faddling with that hood and stuff, but it's pretty close how it's going to be, and I'm really happy with the way that, looking across the top of that tire with that hood line, boy, she's low. My old man says, you got to get them low, boy. That's what he used to tell me when I was a kid. So we're getting them low. Dad, if you're watching, because you're not here, I was listening, bud. But it's a little lower than they used to run it back in the day. Maybe a couple inches, but I really wanted this look. Not that this car needed any help making it look cooler than it did back in the day, because in my mind, you know, it's all I thought about for 30 years, like this car. I was going to build a clone of this car, actually. I had a body over here that I traded in for this one when the deal went down. It was a 34 three-window that I had traded a 32 three-window for. In the back of my mind, I was going to chop whatever I had, something very similar to this. Although 32s don't look as good, I don't think, chopped this low as a Model 40, a 33, 34. But I was going to go pretty low with it on that three-window if I had a chance. But I traded up for that 34, and then the Holy Grail in my book came along. Was real race history and drag racing, Bonneville, auto shows. So look at those 5-inch louvers. Dang. I'm thrilled, super pumped. I'm really happy the way the car is looking. Now I'll probably bolt the hood on with some real fasteners and those little bolts. It's all drilled around there. My friend Steve had showed me that. I mentioned that earlier, that all those little holes, just throw some bolts in them. So Steve, if you're watching, thanks, buddy. And then so get the hood on the way I want it, and then build some body mounts for the body. So when it's going on the trailer, going down to the auto show Thursday, it's solid. So very cool. We'll probably turn the camera back on for some of those body mounts, and then we'll wrap this one up.